I've really liked doing the episodes where I do Maximum Venom stories, having Venom symbiotes invading the My Hero Academia universe and the DC universe, but in this episode I wanted to put a little bit of a different spin on the story. For one thing, I'm putting Venom symbiotes in a different world than I've done before. This time, as voted by subscribers, I'm putting them in the Monsterverse, doing Venomized versions of Ghidorah, Godzilla, Kong, and Anguirus. But along with that, I'm writing the story from a different perspective. I'm having it focused on Doctor Doom, taking some inspiration from a new Avengers comic I read when I was younger called Venom Bomb, where Doctor Doom was using Venom symbiotes for his own nefarious purpose. I guess it puts a bit of a weird spin on this and makes it more Doom-focused than Venom-focused, but I think the story works kind of well in a weird science comic kind of way, and it gave me a good framing device for, you know, doing what we wanted to do with this episode, venomizing some awesome monsters. And if everybody watching right now leaves a like, I will start by venomizing Godzilla. That's why you're all here, right? Sorry everybody, Greg didn't hit the like button, so we're not starting with Godzilla, we're gonna start with Ghidorah. But that works better for the story anyways. Let's go! Dr. Doom had always wanted to be a god, and an essential part of that, so he believed, was having control over all, whether through fear or more supernatural means. And in an attempt to achieve this lofty goal of control, he was building a weapon. Or, in a way, cloning one. He'd managed to get a sample of the Venom symbiote. He was replicating it and using his home blend of science and magic to manipulate the clones into his puppets. So not only could he infect people with them and make the infected more powerful versions of themselves, but he could control whoever was infected. And once his creations were nearly complete, he needed to test them. To ensure that he couldn't be stopped or found out during this trial phase, he didn't conduct his experiments on his world. He opened a portal to another Earth, one without any meddling superheroes. But when he picked a world to jump to, all he knew about it was that it had no heroes. He didn't realize that what it did have was something far more powerful. The world he landed on was currently facing potential extinction. Massive titans were brawling across the world to be Alpha Titan. And while Doom initially considered leaving for a calmer Earth, he suddenly saw an opportunity for an even more difficult test of his creations. It would be one thing to control a human, but it would be another altogether to have full control over a venomized titan. Doom made his way to the nearest titan attack. A colossal, three-headed golden dragon was brawling with an armadillo-like lizard creature, with dozens of spikes jutting from its hide. In the chaos, Doom wasn't noticed appearing on the scene at all. He got close to the dragon, pulled his first canister of the clone symbiote, and hurled it at the creature. It shattered against the beast's leg, and the once tiny symbiote began to spread and spread, crawling across the beast's whole body. The creature quickly saw what was happening and pulled back from the fight. It thrashed and snapped at the goop, trying to pull it off. The leftmost head was taken over quite quickly, but the other two fought back, trying to pull the symbiote off each other. But it was soon apparent that there was no use. Doom watched with pride as his experiment successfully overtook the Titan. But there was still one thing left to discover. Was it under his control? With the symbiote overtaking the beast, Doom could feel the mental link between himself and Ghidorah. He'd built into his mask a device meant to extend his thoughts straight into the symbiotes, and it was time to test the experiment. Through it, he thought, "Down." A moment passed, and the creature simply stood there, breathing heavily. Doom angrily repeated the command, this time shouting it in a booming voice. "Down!" Slowly now, the dragon lowered its heads towards Doom. He climbed onto the middle head and commanded again, "Rise." It lifted him into the air. Doom had indeed done it. The Titan was under his control. But his victory was quickly interrupted by the earth rumbling as the spiked armadillo creature, Anguirus, charged towards Doom's new minion. But Doom wasn't concerned. He calmly and confidently gave another order. Destroy. Ghidorah lifted into the air, soaring above the charging creature, and slammed its feet onto Anguirus' back. The symbiote protected Ghidorah's feet from the spikes, and the colossal dragon managed to grab hold of its foe. With a gust of wind that flattened buildings, Ghidorah flapped its now enhanced wings and soared into the air with its foe in tow. They soared higher and higher as Anguirus thrashed, trying to break free. Ghidorah could have taken the beast all the way to space, but eventually, Anguirus tried a new tactic for escape. It let out an ear-splitting cry like a sonic cannon. The symbiote on Ghidorah recoiled, peeling back off its host. Ghidorah thrashed and flailed. "Stop!" Doom cried, but Ghidorah wasn't listening. Without the symbiote protecting its feet, Ghidorah dropped its opponent, who hurled towards the earth like an asteroid. It smashed to the city below in an impact that shook the continent, unknowingly alerting another nearby titan of their location. With Anguirus' sound waves ceased, Ghidorah's symbiote fully recovered and once more took hold. Doom was livid that he'd even briefly lost control of Ghidorah, but looking past that, he saw now that this other titan presented him an opportunity to make his symbiotes more powerful. "Down," he ordered. Ghidorah soared towards the earth. Doom grabbed his second canister of symbiote and hurled it onto the fallen Anguirus. It shattered and began to spread against the creature's body. As it coated over Anguirus' head, the beast fully awoke. It stumbled to its feet as the symbiote finished encasing Doom's newest beast. And with one of his symbiotes embodying a creature with the power of a sonic cry, all of his minions could now adapt to the blasts and be protected from such an attack. But of course there was still threats that could harm his symbiotes, and a creature that could defeat them was currently thundering onto the scene. Headed directly for Doom and his beasts was the fiercest of this world's titans, the king of the monsters himself, Godzilla. "Destroy!" Doom bellowed once again, pointing his beasts towards their new foe. At this point, Doom's plan had changed. Having control over monstrous titans was making him even more power-hungry. He planned to take these titans back to his own world and use them to destroy any who disobey him. He'd essentially have the world in the palm of his hand, free to crush it if he so desired. But of course he only wanted the best of the best creatures on his side. He'd need to test this one. Anguirus stomped across the ground and Ghidorah took to the sky. Godzilla leaned in and charged. When Anguirus was close, it leapt into the air and spun its jagged, spiky back towards Godzilla. But Godzilla reacted quickly. He sidestepped the beast and swung his massive tail, smashing Anguirus from the side, sending him rolling across the ground. Doom was impressed, but it was Ghidorah's turn. The venomized dragon soared down with 3 sets of teeth bared. All 3 jaws crunched down into Godzilla, who let out a piercing cry that stung the ears but could no longer hurt the symbiotes. Ghidorah thrust its foe to the ground and crunched in tight, but Godzilla pulled its massive legs in, getting them under Ghidorah's belly. He thrust them out and shot Ghidorah into the air. Doom nearly fell off as the dragon flung its wings out and stabilized in the sky. Doom decided that this creature was indeed worth having, but as he thought that, he noticed a sound. Something like an energy bomb building to eruption. He soon realized that Godzilla, now on its feet, was glowing in a blue light. Doom didn't know what was happening, but was intrigued. Godzilla's mouth started to spark with energy. His head had been raised to Ghidorah, but soon retargeted as Anguirus stomped back into the fight. Heat ignited the air as Godzilla fired a blue cannon of fire from its mouth straight at the oncoming armadillo. The blast not only stopped Anguirus in its tracks, but to Doom's dismay, the symbiote started to shriek and recoil, slowly pulling away from its host. The fire seemed to be singeing it right off of Anguirus. That settled Doom's mind. He pulled the 3rd canister and hurled it at Godzilla. It shattered on the beast's head and began to spread. Godzilla ceased its attack. The symbiote quickly seeped into its brain and spread to the rest of the creature. As the symbiote finished overtaking the beast, Doom demanded, "Hunt." With this command, he hoped to find the next beast for his collection. But nothing happened. Once again, he cried, "Hunt!" This time, Godzilla did do something, but not what Doom hoped. Godzilla once again unleashed a blast of fire from its mouth, straight at Doom and Ghidorah. "Rise!" Doom cried, and Ghidorah soared up above the blast, just getting out of reach of his foe's attack. Doom watched from above as the rebelling, venomized Godzilla turned to Anguirus once again. He charged forward and chomped down on the spiky beast's neck, raising him up and slamming him into the earth. Doom was livid, but knew there was a chance that this venomized beast could potentially kill both his controlled beasts if he didn't retreat. He had only one symbiote canister left, but with it he was determined to find a creature who could kill his latest traitorous host. "Retreat and hunt," he said with the slightest fleck of shame hidden under his rage. Ghidorah set off towards the seas as Anguirus was defeated by Godzilla. Ghidorah and Doom had spent nearly a full day over the ocean, and Doom was growing frustrated, thinking his beast might not be capable of tracking his next host beast. The more time he had to sit and think, the more furious he became. He thought he'd gained ultimate control over any beast or being, then Godzilla had instantly shattered that belief. A less prideful man would have left this world with Ghidorah, a sufficiently powerful ally, but Doom wanted more. He became even more furious as his venomized dragon soared straight into a torrential storm, in which Doom struggled to hold on to his perch. But when they were through the storm, Doom found himself over an island, to which Ghidorah was descending. The mighty dragon glided over the landscape, searching. Finally, it seemed to pick up a scent of its prey and dove towards one of the shorelines. As they got close, Doom could see it. Barely concealed on the other side of a mountain was a colossal ape. They got close and the ape spotted them. It snarled, crouching down into a fighting stance, but Doom wasn't playing around this time. When they were close enough, he hurled his fourth canister at the ape. Reacting quickly, the ape swung its hand forward and caught the canister, but it was so small in the beast's massive hands that it was easily crushed, releasing the symbiote. As it spread, the ape fought wildly, rolling around against the ground and pulling hard to tear the goop off itself. For a time, it seemed like it could actually succeed, but eventually, the symbiote overtook the ape. It stood inspecting itself, snarling in confusion at its own body. Ghidorah landed down next to the creature. In an arrogant test of his control, Doom yelled, "Kneel!" But the mighty ape merely turned its head up to look at the little man. Furious and tired, Doom took a deep breath in and once more yelled, "Kneel!" Still, the ape did nothing but look at the man. Doom refused to see that he couldn't have the control he so sought. "You will kneel before me. You will kill the beast who dared to disobey me, and soon all in the world will be at the whim of the all-powerful." Kong suddenly snatched Doom off Ghidorah's head, and in a blink, slammed the villain straight into the ground, crushing him instantly under the palm of his hand. A shockwave boomed across the island, but soon the sand settled. Despite Doom's ambitions and plans, with his death, all on this world returned essentially to how it had been before he'd arrived. Titans fought, though with some new alien assets aiding them, and this world would never know who Doom even was. The man who thought himself a god had been snuffed out in a single blow. He'd soon be forgotten even by his own world, and his creations, meant to be controlled by only him, would be free to do as they wished. Doom's lust for control had been his ultimate undoing. Well, I hope you enjoyed this round of venomizing stuff. It was definitely a bit of a weirder one from a story standpoint, but I wanted to try and come up with a more interesting reason why Venom symbiotes were invading something. And if you like this kind of stuff, as I mentioned earlier, I've got a bunch of other episodes like this. I've got some story-focused ones, like the My Hero Academia venomized episodes, the Justice League venomized episode, and then some that are a bit more focused on just talking about the designs, like the Ben 10 venomized episodes, or Doom Eternal. Whole bunch of Venom stuff I've done on the channel. maybe too much. I might be going over the top with it, but I keep getting requests to do more episodes like this, so I don't know, if people keep wanting them, I'll keep making them. But that's all for today. I'm Christian Pearson. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this and ring the bell to get notified when videos come out on Mondays and Fridays. Thank you to everyone who already is subscribed and is enjoying the videos, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.